I don't know about you, but I am determined it's going to be an amazing week. It's going to be a week where we are focused and giving our undivided attention to what matters most. That is our affirmation for the week. I focus on what matters most and give it my undivided attention. I thought about just skipping this one because it comes so easily for us. Kidding, just kidding, kidding, so kidding. This, I think, is probably one of the biggest challenges from the time we are like 2 years old. Focusing and giving something our undivided attention. We struggled with this, and many of us have not figured out the frameworks to help us be better. Understand that this is a human condition, right? There is part of this that is just human nature. And you think, I can't help it. This is just how I am. Yes, I get it. Your brain is going a million miles an hour, and we have so much distraction in our worlds. And highly productive people learn frameworks, they learn techniques, they learn skills to help themselves keep the main thing the main thing. Thank you, Carlton, for putting it in there. Yes, keeping the main thing the main thing. Okay, so get yourself off mute and we're going to say together, I focus on what matters most and give the rest my undivided attention. All right, 1, 2, 3. I
focus on what matters most
and
give
give
it my
undivided attention. Okay, beautiful. One way that you could practice this is to not be doing emails, text messages, or anything else during this huddle. It would be to give this huddle your undivided attention. And I promise in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to bring you value. Okay, so there was a professor, a Stanford professor, who believed that multitasking was an amazing genius that he wished he had. And so he said, I'm going to research this because I too want to develop the gift of multitasking. And so he took 262 students and he was going to determine which of them were good multitaskers and which were not good multitaskers. So he did a survey, did these questionnaires, and he found the group that said that they were had high multitasking ability versus the ones who said they had low multitasking ability. Now, I am not going to set you guys up for failure by asking in this chat box who is a great multitasker, because then you're going to have the shame, the feeling of shame when I say
no
multitasking is the least productive thing you can do on earth. Multitasking is a lie. That's what Gary Keller and Jay Papasan say in the book, The One Thing. Multitasking doesn't exist. So if you have prided yourself on being a great multitasker, I want to tell you we got to change our thinking on that, because multitasking is a lie. All it is the ability to do two things at the same time really poorly. It is the ability to fail at two things at one time. What this Stanford professor found is that the, quote, multitaskers, those who said they were multitaskers, underperformed below every single person who said they were not a multitasker, AKA the group that had the ability to focus on one thing at a time outperformed all of those who said, oh yeah, I'm constantly bouncing all over the place. Okay, why is that? Because multitasking doesn't exist. It's actually task switching. So what you are doing is you're bouncing between listening to Huddle and checking your email, listening to Huddle and checking a text, listening to Huddle and playing with your dog, listening to Huddle and biting your fingernails, listening to Huddle and, oh, I got to go send this calendar invite. And you're just task switching back and forth. You're not actually multitasking. So here's the reality. You say, well, I can do two things at one time. I can walk and chew gum. I can walk and talk. It's a little bit different there because it's different channels that your brain uses to, quote, chew gum and to talk. But you'll find with everything else, you actually can only focus on one thing at a time. This is why when you get yourself on autopilot while you're driving home and you realize you went to the house that you lived at 2 years ago, because your brain went on autopilot and you were focused on the listing a presentation that you have, right? Or how you're looking at your kid talking to you and they're telling you one thing and you realize I did not hear a word they said because I was completely focused on the text message coming into my phone. So we don't actually multitask. When you think about juggling, like if a juggler, juggles balls, they're not doing the same thing at the same time. It's catch, toss, release, catch, toss, catch, toss. It's two things now. It's happened really, really fast and it feels almost simultaneously, but it is different activities. All right, so I want to read to you something out of the one thing really quickly because this is all of the things of how multitasking will short circuit you. All right. When you bounce between one activity and another, you lose time and your brain reorients to the new task. Researchers estimate that you lose 28% of an average workday bouncing back and forth between tasks. So every time you're interrupted by a text message, by somebody walking into your office, by opening up a different tab because, oh, I forgot to do this, I'm just going to go knock this off the list right now. 28% of your workday. So could we say, excuse me, could we say, see, I could not talk and sneeze at the same time. Point proven. I did that on purpose. Could we say that it's not that we don't have enough time, but that we waste so much of our time on unproductive activity? We so many times, we just don't have enough time. We just don't have enough time. We don't have enough time. Well, guess what? You're not getting any more time. And so how do we get more productive? Multitaskers make more mistakes than non-multitaskers. They make poor decisions because they favor new information over old. Multitaskers experience more life-reducing, happiness-squelching stress. What? That's crazy. So if you're experiencing, let me repeat that, life-reducing, happiness-squelching stress, if you can relate to that, maybe it's because we are not living in focused existence. So if you've heard the term before called flow, getting into flow, what does it mean to get into flow? I'm not going to get super scientific with you, but when you have been in this state, you know it. Meaning you started working on something and you look up and you go, oh my goodness, I cannot believe 45 minutes has passed. It just felt like nothing. Getting into flow is when you are so focused on the task at hand that everything else is blocked out and you are, quote, in the zone. And when you have been in the zone before, it's an amazing feeling. It is an amazing feeling. Here's how it works, though, is that three things have to be true. The task has to be challenging enough for you to engage in it, meaning sometimes the reason that we are so all over the place is you're bored. Think about a kid at school. Why are they not paying attention in the second grade? They're probably bored. Guess what? Same with you. Maybe you're living a boring life and you need more to challenge you. You need more challenging conversations. You need more challenging posts that you're doing. You need to learn and push yourself a little bit. So it needs to be challenging, but not so hard that it panics you. You need a clear goal. You need to know exactly what you're working towards. So you need to define what that focus means. I'm making 20 calls today. I'm following up on every open house lead that has come in over the last month. I'm gonna have a clearly defined goal. My goal is to get X number of referrals. My goal is to get X number of appointments. And then you need uninterrupted time. So research shows it takes roughly 15 to 20 minutes of focus work to reach flow. So what happens so many times is that we get so interrupted by all of the pings on our phone and all of the noise around us that you never get into that state because it takes about 15 to 20 minutes to get there. Okay, so I've given you a problem and let me give you a solution, a framework, and some things that you can put into place to help you get more focused on the time. Now, realize this. The goal is not to be focused, for instance, on your lead generating activities for 24 hours a day. That would be weird. That would literally make you a weirdo. And really, that would also be happiness squelching, okay? You're not gonna be focused on lead generation activities for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. What if you were focused for 1 hour a day? What if you were truly focused, for some of you, for 30 minutes a day? What would that do for your business? Okay. So, number one is you've got to remove the barriers. So, build a bunker. Make sure that when you are in that place where you're saying it's time for me to focus and get work done, that you are in a place that is free of distraction. Okay. Those of you who work in the bullpen, I think coming to the office is an excellent thing because we're not focused by, again, I'm at home again today because of our Zoom issues with the internet. But like I got the Paw Patrol down here. They're kind of distracting. I'm not going to lie. Right. So we do that. And be sure you're honoring one another in the bullpen. Be sure that you're honoring our top agents, right, who are in the office making calls, that you're not bouncing them out of flow. So being respectful of one another in that way is so key and so important, right? But build a bunker. Make sure that your space is free of distraction. Okay. Also, closing out tabs on your computer, I have found that that's helpful to me because I don't go bounce and be like, oh, let me check my onboarding sheet for right now. Oh, let me just go check my email real quick, right? Like we look for all of these things. So close out your tabs, put your, I know you're probably using your cell phone, but turn off your notifications. Do the things to create an atmosphere where your bunker is protected. Number two, set a timer. I do this with my kids. It is so effective. We say, okay, we're going to set a timer for 10 minutes, and the whole family is going to get as much cleaning done of the house as we can do in 10 minutes. Because what are we doing? We're creating focus in that moment. All work explains to fill the time allowed. If we said, okay, over the next couple hours, we're going to get the house clean, I guarantee you we would not accomplish as much as we do in that 10 minutes of total focus. So set a timer. Give it enough time so you can get into flow and say, this is my time. I'm going to do it for just the short amount of time. I'm 100% focused and I'm not going to be distracted. And then number three, be sure that you are maybe in an office, putting up a sign, letting your kids, if you're working from home during summer, say, hey guys, y'all are going to go watch XYZ show. And in 30 minutes when it's over, I'm going to come check on you. But until then, I need you to handle all your business. Unless they're like under 3, they can handle that, mom and dad. I promise you, they can do way more than you think. And okay, I'm sorry if I told you to babysit with the TV, tell them to play with Play-Doh, whatever you want to do. But guess what? Set them a timer so they get into flow and they learn how to focus on one thing at a time too. It's a beautiful thing that you can teach your kids. I know summer is hard. I get it. I've been there. All right. So focus, people. That's what I'm saying.